through the process of your life, it all looked too easy. Getting in behind the defense, no pressure on the ball coming in from Proshliakov, and he gets beyond the one defender. The cutback is all too easy as well, and well, that was a sign of things to come, and there was plenty to come out of that first half. Now pushing forward is Laptev again, easily beyond the first defender and easily getting to the byline, and once again it's a SPARTAK side that's finding very little resistance in getting those tap-ins.
All the balls have been coming from the right-hand side, from Lapter Vladimir. All of those balls have been laying them and find themselves in the box, and they tap them in. It has been easy balls throughout the game.
Well, again, good movements, easy pass, and well, they have to finish the chances they get, and credit to them, they are putting them away. And for Nikita Proshliakov, he showed composure here all the time in the world. The man who went on to get a hat-trick in the first half, could have had 5 in that first half.
He's been giving them, he's been tapping those balls in, he's been laying for his teammates. So it's been a teamwork going high up front there for the Russian team. And their chances, they've been converting all of them. He's the leading goal scorer today. The tournament started today, we already have a leading goal scorer.
We might have a tournament top goal scorer by the end of the this particular match at the end for the tournament. Or will they take their foot off the pedal? But the difference in class was very evident in that first half between these two sides. Also, what was interesting though is seeing how long SPARTAK Moscow went off to have a chat with their coach. They were off the field for all of 1 minute and they were back on again as they get onto the attack on that far side. The cross. Defensively, the touch is not all too convincing. It's just kept the pressure on. Hard running from Sazonov, and we'll take the opportunity now, of course, to introduce Mo onto the second half. But what, a minute they were off the field, they were back on there. There was not much for the coach to say. His side overwhelming the opponents by that much.
The only thing the coach said, drink water, boys, and go score more goals. There's nothing more the coach can say.
Well, to their credit, they've come out looking to score more goals immediately onto the front foot. They aren't letting up here. Ruthless. SPARTAK Moscow. One has to feel for Sin between the sticks. He came up with some impressive saves in that first half. Still conceded 7. Here's the man with the number 7 on his back, looking to pick up an assist. Amongst those two have gotten onto the score sheet. This Sazonov. When you look at the footballing nations of Russia and India, it's clear to see which of those nations is stronger traditionally, with India only recently having set up their Super League. Nice little turn then, and the shot pulled in the end against heavy numbers, but Proshliakov still able to get a toe poke away.
They seem to be very easy in the box there when it comes to the box of India. They can just play as the best way that they can. I mean, somebody can turn and then also try and shoot. So many touches in the box, you need to close them down very quickly. If you can't close them down, just intercept the ball and kick it away. But they seem to be wanting to play a simple style of play, combine the ball, start it from the back, just pump it forward. Look at what you can do when you're high up front there.
That's the closest they've been able to get to the final third on the attack, looking for one of the two South African layers that's on trial. And well, that came about from what you're saying, just kicking the ball upfield and looking for the outlet out wide. It's one of the best ways to get over that halfway line, which was a real struggle.
That's just another thing. If I were to tell you something, he's on trial, Siabo. He hasn't touched the ball. He's been trying to run them down. Now the frustration is going to kick in. He's going to end up dropping too deep just to win the ball and pull something out to impress the coaches. Right now, he's on trial, but nothing is happening on his side. They've not seen anything from him.
Well, Siabong and Ndombela, one of the two South African lads on trial, of course. and he's the lone man closest to the halfway line as we speak to you currently. Absolutely no service whatsoever. Nothing pumped up to him to try and hold up for the midfielders to push up and play off of him. They could use him as an outlet. Watching him now, tell you, your picture as though he's having a stroll in the park. Hardly broken a sweat out there, there's such little to do. Now, SPARTAK Moscow looking to continue to bring the pain towards the football school of India. I think this is the longest we've gone in this match without a shot at goal, 4 minutes.
They just need to defend this 7 and not concede more than this 7. Right now, they need to defend the 7. Maybe they'll regroup in their next game tomorrow or whenever they are playing.
Go for the ball, go for the ball.
Also, at a much higher level, at the highest level at the 2014 FIFA World Cup, many will remember the Germany-Brazil match. Unbelievable scoreline, but some of the reports that did come out of that situation, especially from a German point of view, were that of how the Germans then decided it was in the best interests of all concerned, including the Brazilians, for them to let up somewhat on the goal scoring. Don't know how true that is, but some of the players have been quoted in having said there was an agreement or a statement in the German change room at half time for them not to embarrass their opponents any further. Could be the same here for SPARTAK Moscow if there was any truth to that. But here they are, looking for their first in the second half. Too easy, drill sergeant. It's Markitesov who gets his second. So, Markitesov has got a brace. We've got a man on a hat-trick in Prosliakov, and SPARTAK Moscow edge closer to 10 more.
They seem to just want to convert their chances as early as possible. There's 3 men marking right there, but nobody wants to contact with the ball, and the keeper can only do so much. Keep position, charge and then stop, but right now he's also down. There's no motivation for him to stay in the game.
Well, they can try all sorts of goals, and they've scored all sorts of goals. The most we've seen from a SPARTAK Moscow point of view is tap-ins so far. What's also interesting, they haven't had to pull the trigger from outside of the box. It's all happened from well inside of the box then. In the goals they've scored, they've almost scored them all from point-blank range. That's how close to the target they're getting.
Let's not overlook the player Makatra Dumitru. Has been supplying those balls very silently, so he's been sending them to the sides, chipping them over the defense. He's been doing quite very well, and his role right there as a holding midfield, he's doing very well, and his teammates are converting the chances whenever he's supplying those balls. So the Russian team is working on something now, going to the next games. They're looking forward into having a combination play, a style of play that is suitable for them. As early as possible, they convert their chances.
Mentioned towards the end of the first half that they'd be sending forward a real statement to future opponents here, SPARTAK Moscow. But that said, one can't read too much into this result when you consider some of the opponents that lie ahead. You've got some real pedigree in some of the teams that are in this tournament. When you consider your Mamelodi Sundowns, your Orlando Pirates, your Bidvest, your let's say Atletico Madrid. Well, here's another chance, and it's come off the underside of the bar. But the point I was going to say is you can't necessarily deny those teams chances at goal, and the ability to break down the football school of India. There's not much of a fight in them.
I can tell you there's one thing, they cannot have it easy when it comes to the next games. They will never have it easy, including the Russian team. They will not convert so many chances because those teams are most likely going to study them and maybe take the game to them than for them to wait for them. So it's not an easy one. They may have this one easy, but come the next game, they need to make sure that they stand their ground.
Again, they've struggled to combine and put those passes together here in the second half, as was the case in the first. The football school of India. Skill on the far side. They're having fun now. SPARTAK Moscow keeping that pressure on. Question is, can they get to double figures? The good money would be on them getting to 10 goals here in this match, if not more. And there you have it, goal number 9. All too easy. I do suspect another hat-trick here with Markitesov being the man to poke it home. Just need to confirm that for you, but well, They've been broken down time and time again, the Football School of India. That's goal number 9 of this match.
All the time, the ball is laid to the right-hand side to Lapter Vladimir, just to whip in those high and low crosses, and obviously he's going to find Marquis Testov Dimitri to just tap the ball in end to end, and on Poliskavos, Dimitri is also going to tap the ball in. They've been converting their chances. The Dimitris have hat-tricks at this point in time.
Change being made here. Leaving the field is Ayan Jeffel, and entering the fray here is Joshi, the 14-year-old. So he's amongst the youngest from both these sides. In fact, the youngest players are in the School of India side. They do have a good number of 14-year-olds. In fact, 3 of them in total, if not 4. Yep, 3 is the number, including a couple of 15-year-olds, another 3 in that regard, 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds, whereas for Spartak Moscow, they are all 17, barring 3 players. So there's also that little bit of an advantage that comes with size as well, in the age difference between a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Oh, there's a huge gap.
The space to attack in midfield. Movements from Prosliakov. He's already on a hat-trick. I'm surprised they didn't substitute him at half-time.
They're looking for a leading goal scorer.
Yep, that would be a real incentive, of course. Now, Markitesov. Mitroga. Have made a change of 2. Have Spartak Moscow with man wearing the number 3 now introduced onto the field. Again, so many passes inside that box, so many. Igor Elin from Moscow originally, who's 17 years of age, with the 3 on his back, has been introduced onto this game as well.
They're just going to give him a run. Maybe he can also get a hat-trick, you know, just to switch on all the players that they have as early as possible. It's good for the Russian team to just convert and just switch everybody on as soon as possible.
We're about to see something I don't believe you've seen before, even during your days out in varsity football, Mo, where you have a goalkeeper that might get through a match without touching the ball. And that may be the case for Vlad Elefarenko, the man between the sticks for Spartak Moscow. He didn't touch it in that first half. He hasn't seen it as yet in the second.
I would just go high up front there and try and hit a corner or something, because I'm going to leave the field very clean. Why do I have to shower when I get to the hotel?
Now, looking for his 4th. That's good defending in applying pressure and taking it away from Prosliakov. In the end, they've still got the corner to defend to the Football School of India.
Singh has opted to stay on the line and not come out of the line anymore. Now his defense has to pull the weight, because they've been converting those chances every time when he pushes from the line. If you look at him there, he's backpedaling back to the line. And
well, there's the shots. And there you have it, double figures. Spartak Moscow, 10. Football School of India, no. It's the man just on the field who's found the back of the net here in Igor Lin, come on as a sub, and well, he's come on to add to the tally.
well, he just came into the field of play. And what happened there, the School of India, they tried to just clear the ball, but Flashkov was there to lay it for Igor, and Igor did not even hesitate. He took his snapshot, and the keeper had no chance right there.
The most one-sided of games if you've ever seen one. And they've played themselves into trouble. Maybe that's what they need to do, just go upfield and try and get furthest man forward to hold it up. But defensively, they've got no answer in dealing with the SPARTAK Moscow team.
Only thing SPARTAK Moscow is doing is just combination play. Whenever they get a chance, they take a shot or they just tap the ball into the back of the net. And the School of India, they just want to play a combination play in their own half. They can't make it work. Pump the ball, put your body in front. You might be fouled up front there.
Yes, Sazonov. Again, they bowl through Markitesov, and there's the other opportunity. And well, they're creating them almost at will now. It's Mark Valiev that pops up here, and well, he misses the target. He really should have done much better in finding goal number 11, but when you're leading 10-0, you can afford one or two of those misses.
Look, he had a very good chance. He just couldn't, he needed to just tap it into the back of the net, actually.
Well, these tournaments, one would like to believe, and one does believe, have rubbed off from a South African point of view. We saw the South African under-17s off to a World Cup, and that's been followed up by an under-20 side that's now qualified for a World Cup on their own, and it's pretty much the same generation, and some of them we've seen at this Future Champs tournament in years gone by, and it says a lot about the quality of football. These tournaments, these international tournaments are helping establish. You'll remember there's the Gauteng Future Champs, then there's the Durban International Tournament in the off-season.
Look, the teams have done quite well. Even the organization teams have just worked very well to put together, set these tournaments as many as they can, so that they can just keep these boys working together, playing very well. You saw the under-20 was very competitive when it got to the CAF, and that's why they find themselves being in the semi-finals of the tournament and qualifying for the World Cup. It was good for them, and everybody knows those players. We've seen them play before. We saw them play MTC. We saw them now in the under-20 national team. It's not a fluke squad that somebody chose to have players that we don't even know. All the players we've seen there, we've seen them playing in the MTC, and it's good for South Africa, and it's good for local football and development of the youngsters.
Nice touches by line and power, absolute power in drilling it home for goal number 11. Ruthless. They are ruthless.
Just hit the roof. There's nothing else that you can do. He's been supplying those crosses, Vladimir. Right now, he decided to take the responsibility to himself, and it just took a snapshot, and Singh could not even save the ball. He actually punched it and redirected it into the goalpost to be a goal. He was actually ducking the ball.
Seemed to be more concerned about his safety than saving the ball and the safety of the net then. Two South Africans licking up for the first time, and a few whistles out in the stands. Then as the trickery comes into the game, I think they've decided, look, we are taking a bit of a lashing, so we might as well have a bit of fun. The South Africans, it may confuse their teammates somewhat. They may not be familiar with what we are used to from Agassi, so to speak, in Diski.
Definitely the boys are tired now. They're showing off what they can actually do. Maybe this is the reason why they saw them on YouTube and decided to invite them.
Just a man on. Well, they should get on the ball more. Able to string together a few touches, although they are running the risk of embarrassing themselves if you lose it. Whilst you're putting out the trickery and such, you may run the embarrassment of seeing yourself not being selected to be part of the Football School of India. Keep in mind the two South Africans are still on trial, so they are looking to impress. They need to keep their eye on the prize here.
They just need to dribble and go forward and maybe take a shot towards the keeper at least, so that the coach can see that the player has actually a technique or a shot direct on target to the keeper.
Of course, South Africa now, we mentioned the MDC, which wasn't there in years gone by. For those of you that don't know, it's the multi-choice Diski Challenge, and it's a reserve league which many South Africans were crying out for many years, and it's been up and running for the last 3 or so years now, and it's helping in the development of youngsters that are using that to break into the first team at a very young age. Some may say even younger than usual, the number of youngsters at that age or teenagers that are getting a shout. Now, another chance. Wide of the mark. And everybody's pushing forward now. Even Maliev, the defender. But also, another development that we've seen in the growth of the South African game as we look back at this opportunity then. Toe poke just wide of goal. Is like in the case of SPARTAK Moscow, more and more, if not all of the professional clubs now have development size, and they're all looking to push it to as young as possible. Under 7 is what I was told by Mamelodi Sundowns, where they're looking to get to. So SPARTAK Moscow has players that have played together since there were 6 in the squad, and Sundowns is looking to do the same. So it all augurs well for South African football in the development of the South African footballer outside of the international tournaments. Varsity football as well, Mo, which of course you participated in.
Look, that's a very great link, if I were to tell you something, Sizwe, because when you start at a very early age, you are prepared, and it's very easy for a coach to select you because now they've seen you from a very young age. You've been growing with them. I can tell you one player who's been in the varsity team. Right now, he's in the under 20. He made the prelim squad, but he did not make the squad that traveled to play the CAF. In Chabeleng, he played varsity cup. Mamelodi Sundowns picked him from there. He's 19 years old, and then he was called by Coach Thabo Sino to be part of the interim squad. So it tells you that the development stages are actually quite good, and the teams are giving players enough chances to expose themselves and to build them for any stage of football whenever they need them to play.
Well, from your year of varsity football, don't forget Thabo Mnyama, and he went on to score and debut in the PSL, score and debut for the national team as well. He's now part of a SuperSport United squad that is in the running for the league. He's been playing in the top flight for 2 or 3 seasons now from that first year of varsity football as SPARTAK Moscow bury yet another. And that's exactly the point we're making, develop them as young as possible. And well, like SPARTAK Moscow, they'll just bury opponents that are much or of much lesser quality, which is what's happening here.
Look, earlier on it used to be something different, but right now it's a different story as well. If you were to look at development stages of football, I gave an example with the under 20, they played. We all know the players that were playing there. It was not a fluke squad that somebody says players were being called to go and play in the national team and we don't even know them, that's why we've lost. We played so very well because we know the players, we've seen them, and we know their capabilities.
Check their growth as well. Now the South Africans are giving the fans some enjoyment. Now many may not know this, but the skills that you're seeing from the 2 South Africans out on that field in the likes of Siyabonga Ndombela is and Siyabonga Mokhale as well is well, something that's quite popular on this field. There are local tournaments where the teams that come out and play in the tournaments are all about playing in that sort of fashion. We call it Diski in South Africa, for those of you that may be watching from beyond the borders of South Africa, but it's a township way of playing football that's almost like street ball in looking at basketball, where it's all about the flashy side of the game and everything is done stylishly and flamboyantly. And the fans absolutely love it. So those tournaments take place at this very ground on a good number of occasions throughout the year, and that's what the 2 South African lads have adopted in a way to try and enjoy themselves in this game where obviously there's very little to enjoy.
We're actually coming to one tournament, the Easter tournament is also coming in this very same field. Or during the Easter holidays, there's a 3-day tournament. Stadium will be packed and dribbling and skills will be there.
some of the goals that are scored at those tournaments are jaw-dropping goals. Yeah, they do whip out the skills, and you may think it's showboating, but it's become a culture. And like you said, it gets packed out here at the Nike Center as we have a look at yet another build-up here from Moscow. And well, they have brought yet another save out of Singh. He seemed to have lost his saving abilities here in the second half. That's his best save of this second half, which has 7 minutes remaining. Ball in, another chance, another goal, 13-0.
There's nothing that Singh can do now. Right now, he just needs to find his feet. If he can save the ball, he saves it. But his defense in the midfield, they can't seem to pull their weight just to save the ball. Look at that ball. He was also ducking the ball from nowhere. Siyabonga was also right in front of him. He could have just kicked the ball away, but no. The keeper was blocked there. You can't really blame the keeper. His fellow teammates are actually ball watching more than actually playing the ball.
Well, in the case of Abhimanyu Singh, one feels for him, and as early as the first half, the Fat Lady was out singing the end of this tie in SPARTAK Moscow, running away with it. We stated then it's a question of how many can they score. They're 13 and scored 7 in the first half. Can they make it another 7 in the second? Now, one thing one needs to note about, as we confirm the subs here, that sort of skill that's seen as showboating in parts of the world, especially out in Europe, is opponents won't appreciate it like it's appreciated here in the townships.
Right now, they just push Siyabonga with their hand. So now it can tell you something. If they can do this in their half, they can get fouls and maybe take shots at the keeper. It's not really allowed, but then you can't take it away from South Africa. That's what we play. That's what we love. So we'll always do that, and we'll do it to our utmost best.
More physicality, yet another South African foul. They're finding it as a sign of disrespect. I do believe the Moscow side, you remember Tottenham Hotspur coming down to play the likes of Orlando Pirates some years ago, where the showboating, as they called it, was on full display. They didn't appreciate it. Lots of comments about disrespectful football, although it was a pre-season tournament, still it wasn't appreciated.
Sometimes they say it deforms the character of the opponent.
There you go. Tell you what, the fans are loving it. They're enjoying it. They've seen more than their fair share of goals, so a little bit of skill to boot wouldn't hurt. And I do believe it's the longest the Football School of India has been able to hold on to the ball. Now the problem is when you lose it, but they haven't held on to the ball for that long just yet.
These are trialists. They need to push the ball forward. As much as they're dribbling, let them dribble going forward, as compared to them standing right next to the fence and just dribbling the ball and they're not moving.
Wow, and that can happen. You're going nowhere slowly. I tell you what, SPARTAK Moscow is on the way to goal number 14. That's 7 in the first half, 7 in the second. They just won't stop, and it's Proshliakov, who had a hat-trick in the first half, and, well, shrugs off the challenge and the volley then to put it beyond Singh.
I tell you, Riyad was just jumping for no reason that day. He just jumped, tackling a ball that is not even there. He needs to be composed. He needs to clear the ball. There's nothing you can do. Don't try and be fancy. Just clear the ball as early as possible.
Now that's what works against the South African lads. They had all the skills out. No tactics beyond that. No end goal in sight except to play for yourself, really, rather than the team. They lost the ball, the South African lads, and straight from there, SPARTAK Moscow went on to find the back of the net. Works against you. Now, when you're leading 14-0, it's okay.
And when you're not losing the ball, it still stays with you.
Yeah. The one thing about the flashy skills, the Neymar type of play, is the ability to complete your pass at the end of it. And that's what Neymar does so well. Then in using him as an example for skill, he's able to create for others, as was the case here with Marky Tesov creating, and Proshliakov really motoring his way to being a possible top goal scorer in this tournament. 5, I think that is.
There's nothing that's stopping Proshliakov right now. He keeps on tapping those balls in. He just doesn't want a mistake when it comes to the... He's going to be the owner. Look at that. Standing all by himself and then a tap-in of the ball. You can see the ball coming from Mariskov Dmitry. He's been supplying and pushing himself forward. Right now, they're always laying the ball to him. Look at that with his left foot.
Back again, live visuals of the Southwest Townships. It's been raining goals here like us. And so this is where we at. That's, the scenes, this is what it feels and it looks like. That's one of the biggest structures you find in and around this area. And as big, it was a big scoreline. The man from Moscow, boy oh boy, they put the team from India under the cosh and then some. 15 past a helpless keeper. And these fans will be hoping for pretty much of the same. These games coming thick and fast. Your World of Champions bringing you the finest in under tournament football. Bringing you the finest in under 17 talent period. All fans of from all walks of life have come out and have a bit of culture sharing. Not only the teams doing so on the pitch, off the pitch as well. As I mentioned in the previous game, some of the teams ensuring that they impart their knowledge that they've picked up through various school clinics in Indonesia and so forth. That's what it looks like now. The All-Stars of West Africa, of Nigeria, having picked up a point in a very hard-fought game against a Safa Tshwane Select team. Been left by Jacket Musoma. I had a word with him just after the game and he said it was a tough old one for them, like, given the fact that the guys were, the man from West Africa was so much bigger than their team. Of course, I am not alone. I am joining commentary for the first time. Allow me in taking pleasure in saying I'm alongside William Shongwe, as we see the various platforms that we can keep in touch with. Mr. Shongwe, an absolute pleasure to have you by my side. Dream come true. That I can tick that one off my bucket list.
Thank you so much, Temba. It's really a privilege for me to be able to work with you, Zia. I've had the opportunity to listen to you every now and then, and I've always looked forward to say, how is it going to be like? And obviously you're one guy that really likes to have fun on air, which is what I really do as well. We'll talk a whole lot more about what these two teams bring for us in a few minutes. Take it on.
Thank you very much, sir, for that commentary through pass, and we will have fun. I can guarantee you that much, as the fans just waiting to find out exactly. I'm not sure what the holdup is. I can see from afar that the teams and the officials are standing in the tunnel, just ready to step on into the battlefield. And have you been impressed at what you've seen thus far from the various different styles of play and the teams that we've been on show here today?
Well, for me, basically, this is what gives us the pleasure to be able to identify with some of these teams from where they come from, the level of disciplines, and you look obviously the game that we just watched right now. I'm not surprised at all that we saw that kind of a scoreline. Obviously, there's not a lot of football. Indian football is still at that development stage. And if you think of Russian football, that disciplinary level that comes with everything that is done in that part of the world, clearly is right up there with the best.
Yeah, you mentioned the likes of SPARTAK Moscow, one of the big traditional powerhouses in Russia. How many times have we seen them do duty on the European stage, the likes of the Europa as well as the Champions League? Well, the finest in Italian young talent is Torino FC. Have traveled several hours all the way down to the mecca of South African football, that being Soweto. They had to take on last year's finalists, beaten finalists, Bit Wits, under the tutelage of Dylan Shepherd last year. They went unbeaten up until we had really